All right, so for anyone I don't know, my name is Brad. It's great to be back here. I was here in 2019, so it's been a few years. And I think ironically, the class that I taught at the camp in 2019 was also stepping on people, just a little bit of a different version of stepping on people. But it's cool to get to kick the camp off and have the first class. So what I'm going to look at today is really a concept. It's really, really easy. You can pretty much plug in any passing system or style that you like. It's just a really easy way to control somebody's hips. And something that I've sort of over a long time started doing from a bunch of different positions, whether someone's in a seated guard or whether they're on their back. Okay, so today, it doesn't matter if you have a gi or you don't. It doesn't really matter. It's the majority of you guys are no gi, which is fine. We can look at some more supine passing. So basically if someone's on their back. Okay, so just going to start with a couple of little drills. The first one is just going to be a guard passing drill with no hands. So what you got to do is you're basically just going to get a partner. We're going to say go. My partner has no hands and I have no hands. My job is to essentially get around my partner's legs. I have to get clearly all the way around their hips and just touch the top of their head. Okay, he can do whatever he wants to keep me away, hooks, play, just move with me. I'm going to try to be like creative with how I get around him. Okay, and if I do manage to get around the legs, however I do that, well, I'm just going to touch the top of the head and we're going to reset with the feet on the hips. Okay, does that make sense to you guys? We good? All right, I don't clap, so just grab a partner, spread out. Let's go. All right, so now I want you guys to imagine, we're going to do one more drill now, okay? But now I want you guys to imagine that you can only move to one side. So my partner is I'm going to do the same exact thing, but now my partner has to stay on one hip the entire time, okay? So he's going to pick a side, I know. He's going to pick a side, okay? He can play whatever guard he wants, okay? And we're just going to say go. You have to stay on that hip, go. Okay? All right? I know, it's stupid. Grab a partner, let's go. All right, so what's the point of all this stupidity, okay? How much harder was it the second round from the first round? Yeah, like 50% harder maybe, 100% harder, whatever, okay? So the idea with what I'm going to show you guys today is very simple. If I can always pin one side, if I can always essentially keep my partner on one hip or the other, passing the guard becomes ridiculously easy. It becomes exponentially easier percentage-wise than if my partner can do whatever they want and play with, if it's a gi situation, any grips they want, or move any way they want. Okay, if there's hips involved, my life becomes very difficult. Okay, so first thing we're going to do, and we're going to look at a few different ways to do this, but the first thing we're going to do, and again, today is more of a supine idea, so my partner's on their back. Okay, if they were sitting up, that would be something different, and we can talk about that. Come find me during the week. I'm happy to share with you. Okay, some ideas from there. But we're just going to start here. My partner can play whatever guard they want. It doesn't really matter. If you have a gi on, you can even make grips, and your partner can just break those grips. Okay, but essentially all we're going to do is we're going to look for inside position on the knees here. All right, and we're just going to simply start to circle to one side. Okay. The moment that I circle, I shuffle to one side. Right. The thing that I want you guys to consider really is the posture right now. Okay. So as I'm moving to one side or the other, I'm always getting lower. I'm always essentially, as I shuffle, getting lower, making sure that my back is straight and my head is up nice and tall. Okay. So I'm going to play whatever guard, boom, doesn't really matter. I'm just going to simply circle to one side. I'm nice and low with my head up and my back nice and straight, almost like a wrestling posture. My hands out in front. And then as my partner's hip starts to travel to the floor and that leg starts to travel to the floor, all I'm going to do is I'm going to simply slide my toes up the mat. And I'm just going to nice and easy look for the middle here, just to step and pin, okay? Almost like spider guard in the sense of I kind of want my toes and my heel, right, on both sides here, just like that, right? I'm going to stay nice and low once I get in that position. And now all my partner's going to do without using this foot to kick me right now or push my knee, okay? All they're going to do is try to get off of that hip the way that you guys just did in the game, okay? Okay, yeah, it's pretty annoying, okay? So if we're here, turn please. All right, just start easy. It doesn't really matter if you guys want to play some grips for the folks that have a gi on, if that's anybody, which it doesn't look like it is, but if you have a gi on or whatever, or even if you want to play some grips without the gi, just circle, staying low, and pin, okay? Have your partner kind of test it a little bit. Can you move a little bit? Perfect. Kind of stuck there, annoying. Okay, perfect. Maybe we go a couple times and we switch. Okay, does that make sense to you guys? So again, the posture is key. And notice how I'm not really picking my foot up to drop it back down. I'm just kind of, it's almost like a foot sweep, right? I'm just kind of sliding and sweeping the mat with my toes, okay? So then, boom, okay? It's just a nice easy movement. Slide and pin, okay? You don't have to stomp on your partner too hard, just nice and easy. Let's turn one more time, please, okay? So again, just playing here. Partner can put their feet wherever they want. Just move and just pin, okay? And have your partner just kind of test that pressure a little bit. Perfect, okay? There you go. Make sense? Easy peasy. Let's go.
That's it. There you go. All right.
All right, so again, just a couple things I'm noticing here as I'm walking around. The thing here is a lot of you guys are up really high here, okay? We think about what I'm trying to do relative to my opponent here, my partner, is essentially get as tight as I can. I want to basically get into this inside position as quickly as I can, okay? So the taller I am here, okay, the harder it's going to be for me to actually get into that space, even if I can't pin the leg, okay? So that's why, when you guys think about this, like, you ever see that movie like Austin Powers back in the day, in the 90s? You know, he does that escalator thing, like that. Yeah, like, that's kind of what I want to do. I'm getting lower as I move, okay? So I'm already probably pretty low, especially if it was a gi type of situation and I need to break grips, you know, I'm here, right? But as I'm moving, right, to the side, as I'm shuffling to the side, I want to think about getting as small as possible here. Okay? So don't have your head over your hips, have your head up and your butt down. Okay? We're wrestling essentially. All right? The other thing that's going to be really important on this, and I know again, we're just doing this kind of slow and having our partner kind of test it, but I always want to have my hands out in front of me ready, because the reality of the situation, which we'll talk about in a few minutes here, is that as soon as I do this, he's going to probably start pushing me away to free that leg, or he's going to be hooking, right? Or doing something like that. So I don't just want to kind of be like doing this. Okay, I want like my hands in front of me so I'm ready for whatever is going to come. Okay, does that make sense, you guys? Let's do it a few more minutes. Okay, if you have the mechanics down, which you guys do because it's pretty much like the simplest thing of all time. Okay, try to move a little smoother. Try to do it all as one movement. Okay, meaning don't stop and start. Okay, try to just keep going all at the same time. Okay, good. Let's do it.
Actually, you know what? Yeah.
So like I said, this is pretty much the easiest thing of all time, which is why I like it, because it doesn't really require a lot of technique. It's not 13 steps or whatever. And I'm going to obviously take you guys through a few passing options here from the position, but really you can put in whatever pass you want. The idea is, again, if I can get that hip pinned to the floor, it just becomes a lot easier to do whatever I want to do, whether that's to go through the knee or around to the back. It's a long step to do, you know, kind of whatever passing you like, okay? But the one thing I am still noticing, and again, just this will help you down the road, especially if you're playing with a gi, is if you get to here and your head is over your hips like this and the person's bigger than you, you might get dragged forward and then it can be a problem, okay? So again, just try to think about this like wrestling. I pretty much think of everything like wrestling now, okay? Just think about as you move, like kind of really staying low here with your head up, okay? You know, no matter how handsome he is, I'm not looking down at him, right? I'm looking kind of straight ahead, and he's using my peripheral vision here, okay? The other quick thing here, just to point out as we go through this, right, is don't be scared to put a little weight on your partner's leg, okay? You're not going to hurt them, right? Unless they have some kind of pre-existing condition there, and then you sign the waiver, okay? But don't worry about it, okay? I see a lot of you guys doing this. You're like, okay? I have to put my weight over my partner. So think about this almost like a spider guard, like in the biceps or something, right? Where you're kind of connecting, you're kind of conforming to whatever that thing is that you want to step on, okay? All right, so the majority of my weight has to be on that long enough. And again, in real life, this is going to be like probably pin and go. It's not going to be like pin and stop there and just be like, hey man, how's your flight here? Like, you know, oh yeah, it's good to see you, whatever. Okay, you're gonna go right into the movement, okay? But does that make sense to you guys?
Is there a location you aim for on the leg?
Not really. I just kind of try to be a little bit above the ankle here, okay, for me, right? Depending on what I'm doing. If they're sitting, obviously it's a different thing. I'm going more for the thigh, but yeah.
Like more close to the ankle, not close to the knee.
Yeah, more close to the ankle for sure. Yeah, because it's much easier to find that as you're moving, because you're already moving on that same line as where that is, okay? Okay, you guys feeling good? I know I'm talking a lot, but Does that kind of make sense with those few details? Okay, awesome. So let's go on, okay? So we're going to talk about some ideas here. This one's pretty basic. I actually saw the Rotolo is doing this, which is kind of cool because it's really, really, really easy. So what we're going to do here is we're going to walk, we're going to pin, okay? And again, remember what I said here. My hand's already out in front of me. That's a really important detail here because I know that he's going to come and push that, okay? But let's say I beat him and he wasn't able to push the knee yet or whatever. We're just going to start really, really basic here. All I'm going to do is I'm going to take that arm that's closest here to my partner's foot, and I'm just going to look to kind of make a little bit of a frame here and push away, okay? So what I'm doing here is I'm just keeping that leg there long enough, and then I'm just going to continue to walk around, okay? You can switch as soon as I start to walk around. I know he's going to bring that opposite knee in to recover his guard, okay? So I just have the other hand ready to switch and frame the hip, okay? It's pretty much the stupidest thing of all time, okay? And I'd say like 60% of the time it works like 35% of the time. Okay, so we're here. Boom, I move, right? I start my frame. I already have this hand ready as I'm walking around. I'm going to push, right? And before he goes, right, all I'm going to do is I'm going to look to frame the hip and start to get low, okay? If you're in Parnu, you probably, maybe you saw my class with like the smashing with your hip right into the jawline. That's kind of the next move from there for me. I usually just go right to that position because it's very strong control, okay? But you can do whatever top position you like. So here I move, pin, walk. You guys notice here, again, you can stay here, or if you feel like the person's leg is too strong for your arm. I'm not very strong upper body wise, so for me, I usually just tend to go from here right to the hips with kind of like a C grip and just kind of melt into my partner's head and control their hips here, okay? So a little faster, we'll just switch our angle, please. Okay, so you guys are gonna do the same thing. If you're playing with grips, just break whatever grips. Circle, pin, push, hips, and go, okay? Partner on the bottom, I want you to move a little bit, okay? So maybe like 20-30% resistance, just gently try to bring that back knee in, okay? But person on top, you still get to win just so you feel the timing. All right? So you move one, push, and my partner can get that in there. Perfect, boom, okay? Does that make sense to you guys? So we're really literally just kind of monitoring where that knee is. Okay, so essentially as it's pinned, I'm just monitoring it long enough that as that leg comes in, I can either start at the knee or just go right to the hip and just block it, okay? There's no real right or wrong way to do it. It's just whatever works. So boom, move, push, and go, okay? I can make it stupider than that, but it's really that stupid, okay? Just do it, okay? Does that make sense, you guys? You all right? Yep. All right, let's go. So regardless of where you grab, okay, meaning if you frame the knee or you go right to the hips, okay? Just think about this, okay? Again, first hand can move almost immediately as soon as I'm pinning, right? So what I mean by that is once I get here and he's pinned, okay, my first hand is kind of already there, okay? Usually it's going to be the knee, at least to start, right? Just because it's the closest thing here to get to, okay? Does that make sense to you guys? So as you're moving, think about top hand just monitors the knee, okay? We'll just kind of keep it uniform for right now. All right, now, as soon as I take the weight off of that foot, that's where my problems are going to start, right? As soon as I take the weight off of that foot, what's going to happen is he's going to bring the knee back through, okay? So in a second or two, in a minute or two, whatever, we'll look at a version where we don't take the weight off that knee ever, okay? But for now, again, this is the works 30% of the time version. All we're going to do here is just going to be ready. So what's going to happen is this hand, this free hand, is going to take the place of that foot that's pinning. Okay, does that make sense to you guys? So what's happening here is as I move, right, and again, look how low I am. I'm already kind of trying to get into that inside space, right? As soon as I go to take that foot off, all I'm going to do is just switch, right? So I'm going to move one, or you can keep it to the other knee. It doesn't really matter. You just go to the hip, one, okay? And then as soon as that foot is going to come off, that near side hand is just going to go right into its place, okay? So just think about like as soon as your weight comes off of that foot, that hand is ready to move, okay? So we're here, moving a little bit. As soon as I pin, I push, and I'm already here, okay? As long as I get to the hip, even if he tries to bring the knee in there and I haven't quite settled yet, go ahead. It's like super annoying. I just put my body in there, right? So my body kind of takes the place and occupies the space that he needs to bring the knees through. Does that make sense to you guys? Yeah? Okay, good. Let's just turn it once more this way, please. All right. So again, guys, just think about replacing. Okay, here, as soon as you move that one off, you're just going to go. So we're going to go low and block. And then again, even if I'm not there yet and he starts moving toward me, look, you guys see, super hard if I just start putting my body in for him to get the knees back through there and reoccupy that space, okay? Because now my body is in there. Does that make sense? Okay, let's go. Let's try it again, please. Go. All right, so here's the good news. That's a lot harder than it needs to be. Okay? So, again, it's more about the concept. It's more about that idea that once you pin, you can literally just, as long as you can get some inside position here and frame, either the hips or the knees or the thighs or whatever, you can just keep walking around. Okay? But that can be a lot of work sometimes, right? You get these people with flexible guards, right? They're like, their legs are super annoying. It's hard to pin them down. Maybe they're bigger, or maybe they're just simply really flexible, or maybe they're even smaller and they can just get their knees inside, their legs inside, and just re-guard you, okay? So for me, what I prefer to do is once I'm controlling one side, meaning once I'm pinning that leg and that hip to the floor, okay, I really try hard to not let it go until I'm at least in a position where I'm somewhat stable in terms of my pins, okay? So rather than try to just like beat my partner around, okay, it's definitely an option. I'm not saying I don't do that. I obviously do it, right? I try it. But this, what I'm going to show you now, to me is considerably easier. And it's so stupid that you'll probably be like, that's dumb, it probably won't work. It works 90% of the time. This is what I do. It's really stupid, okay? If I was rolling with you today, I probably tried to do this to you or did it to you, okay? So what I'm going to do here is essentially exactly the same. Again, you guys are looking really good. We're getting nice and low now, which is good, and our hands are in front, okay? So again, just think about this like you're wrestling, and we're here, right? My hands are up, my elbows are in. It's the same wrestling posture that I would adopt from standing. I'm going to move in, and I'm going to start to pin, okay? Once I pin here, now all I'm going to do, once I've pinned here and I have my hands out in front just to kind of monitor this other leg, which is probably in a second going to push me away, and we'll talk about that, okay, is I'm simply going to just put my knee on the ground, okay? And I just want to put my knee kind of north of the line of his hips here. It can go anywhere in here. It doesn't really matter. We have a couple of variations on this. The first one I'm going to show you guys is literally just put your knee on the ground, push your partner's leg away, and just start driving your body flat, okay? Now, as soon as I get to here, he's probably going to start trying to push half guard, right? He's going to try to lock that foot around and catch my leg. Perfect, okay? So what I want you guys to be cognizant of here, okay, is once this leg is pinned, I need to either push this leg away, or for me, I usually simply just underhook it here, okay? So I'll push, and then I just kind of underhook the leg here. So as I'm settling into position here, go ahead and put your half guard in. It's really hard for him to lock the half guard, and now I can just pass, okay? So stupid that it works. Okay? That's kind of jiu-jitsu. So we're here, I move and push, I drop and push. Okay? I know he's gonna turn into me. I just keep kind of pushing him away. You guys see what I'm doing? I'm just like, why don't you stay over here? Okay, I know you want to turn into me. I know you want to free that leg. I'm like, push, and then I just kind of splay my body down, and I just kind of move my arm. Okay, you guys see, look, you can go inside here if you want, or you can simply just keep your elbow in, lock your half guard, and just clear it, okay? Then you can replace, obviously, your knee with your arm. Start doing whatever top position you like, okay? Really, really stupid. I seriously, I wish this class was more complicated, okay? So all you're gonna do is play a little bit now, move, slide and pin, drop and push, okay? If you do it fast enough, you probably won't even catch the leg, but if you're worried about that, just kind of close the elbow or underhook the leg to monitor it, okay? So once more, we're here. Moving a little bit, maybe he had grips, I broke him, whatever. We play, I pin, I get low, I push, I drop, and I pass. Okay? Even if you're doing it slow, see if you can do it all at the same time. Okay? Make sense? You guys all right? With me? All right, let's go.
Yeah. Well, you said flow.
Okay, so again, in reality, right, this is one move. It's one move. It doesn't really, I don't have to stop and push, right? I'm just going to keep going. As soon as I pin, I'm going to push away, okay? If we think about here what he wants to do once he's pinned, right, is here he wants to bring this knee in, right? Maybe it's a hook, or maybe it's just to kind of regain this inside position, right? Or frame or something, right? Or to kind of use everything else, because this is pinned, to try to sort of like, yeah, exactly, make space, come up on the shoulder, whatever, okay? So what I'm ultimately trying to do is, as I'm walking around, as soon as he's pinned, my goal here ultimately is to push everything as far away from me as possible. Okay, does that make sense to you guys? So I'm telling you to push the knee, and in reality, it doesn't really matter if you just go under the leg. None of that really matters. What really matters is essentially just the concept here, just understanding that as he's pinned and I drop my knee, I'm just pushing my body, where my head goes, my body follows, right? I'm pushing my body and his leg away from me as fast as possible, okay? So there's never a moment where I'm stopping here like this and then kind of seeing what he does. I'm just continuing to move, right? Again, you can frame the hips or do whatever, but here, I'm just continuing to move, okay? So all I'm gonna do now is just simply drop my knee, right? I'm here, I just go push, right? Again, if I wasn't fast enough and I feel like maybe he's really good and maybe that half guard is coming, I'll just drop my arm down, okay? So if my arm is here, I'll just go under, or I'll just kind of open my elbow here, just so he can't close the legs together as I'm pushing. Obviously, just be mindful when you land not to leave your arm in here, right? Have you guys ever been to Triangle City? That's like a super bad part of town. Yeah, you just don't want to go there. So here, boom, Triangle City. Okay? So obviously be mindful of the arm here and just make sure that you repummel or switch, okay? Does that make sense? So let's see again. I'm going to show you guys a couple more things, but again, it's quality, not quantity. I'd rather have you get the 2 or 3 things conceptually well, okay? So now see if you can do it all at the same time. It doesn't mean you have to rush to go as fast as you can. You can still be slow and smooth right now, but just pin, drop, and push, okay? And again, have your partner not be just like a noodle like this, like have them actually just move a little bit for you. You still get to win every time, but have them give you just like a tiny bit of resistance here as you go, just to see, again, you can do it. Okay? Yeah. Does that make sense? You guys over here are good? Because I didn't turn that way. You guys good? Okay, awesome. Let's go, please. Question, yes, sir.
Maybe you go for the head control, but I see you go over. Does it make any difference?
Say it one more time.
Yeah, I usually go for the head control, like the shoulder.
The head control doesn't matter. I don't care. As long as I'm north of the line here, north of the border, okay? That's cool. I just want to cross the border. As long as I get over here, I'm happy, okay? Control it any way you want, okay? Let's go. So again, really the idea is more the concept, okay? We can, just for an example, we're gonna move on, but just as an example, you can switch the pass any way you want. So for example, if I get here and I put my knee down and maybe I'm like, oh, I feel a frame or something here, I can always just back, like long step here and push, right? Come in. So you can always kind of switch the hips or switch the way that you're sort of getting to the destination. That doesn't really matter so much, okay? All that matters is it really kind of takes that side away, right? And I just keep moving, yeah? And when I do it, I know you guys if you haven't kind of seen this stuff before, you're kind of doing it slowly, but really the idea is not to stop once you pin. Yeah, it's just to just kind of move right into that space as fast as you can, regardless of whatever variation you do, okay? You guys okay? Yes. All right. Okay. So now let's start to talk a little bit about what's probably going to happen here. Okay, I know I don't have a ton of time, but it's like I'd say 9 out of 10 times this is the reaction when you try to do this to somebody, right? Regardless of whether they're sitting up or on their back, is as we move and we pin, and again, maybe it could just be from here and I see that he's on one side and I step, okay? I'm just having you guys set it up with the movements, shuffle here, okay? Almost every single time that I pin, he's going to use what he's got at his disposal, which is the free leg. It's almost inevitable, okay? That free leg is going to come in. Go ahead, do it. Just be aware of your partner's knee. Go ahead, push and free leg. Perfect, okay? So it's like almost the reaction that you can set your watch by. So, you guys remember what I said, I don't know, 3 million times, right? Where are my hands? They're always in front. I'm ready, okay? I'm ready for that leg because I know that that's what's going to happen. So after you do this a couple times, that's essentially how the person's going to stop you. You're going to do this. You're going to get, I pin the leg. This is great. Do it. And next thing you know, you're back in the guard. Okay? As a side note, the reason that I like this style of passing so much is because I don't give anything up, even if it doesn't work. Okay? What's the worst case scenario? Beat me. Where am I? It's back where I started, right? I haven't really given anything up. He doesn't have an arm. I'm not getting swept. There's no real danger there, right? He's defending, I'm attacking. I'm essentially still a step ahead, okay? Does that make sense? Okay, so with that in mind, getting back to the topic here. As he goes to push my leg, I'm gonna have my hands ready, okay? Take note here just for a second of the direction that this leg is traveling as he pushes, okay? So all you guys are gonna do is just a basic leg drag movement, right? This is super easy, right? I'm already low, my hands are already up. As he goes to push, I just continue the momentum of that leg, okay? And then all I'm gonna do is as fast as I can, I'm gonna try to occupy this space. I'm gonna try to put my knee right into this inside position as fast as I can and get low, okay? And just start controlling the hips, all right? The key detail here, for me at least, when I try to make this pass work here, is I can't give the guy the freedom of movement of this bottom leg, okay? So what I want to do here is make sure that as soon as that knee touches the mat, that I'm gonna windshield wiper over to the other side of it to pin it, okay? So essentially, I'm American, we like sandwiches a lot. You guys like sandwiches?
That's true. Yes.
Yeah, you like sandwiches or not?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Sandwiches are good, okay? So I want you guys to think about this like a sandwich, okay? So we got this nice piece of bread over here, okay? We got whatever. What should we put in there? What should we put in the sandwich?
Cheese.
Cheese. Let's put some cheese in there, okay? So we got my cheese, okay? All right, I got whatever else is going in there, okay? Boom, and then I've got that bread on top, okay? So that sandwich is nice and secure on the hips now, and now I'm ready to start moving, okay? But for at least a second here, even before I kind of just put my weight over that top leg, if we had a gi, maybe we would pull and like kind of lock a grip there or something, right? I've kind of gotten into that inside position. I'm controlling that bottom hip. You guys notice the theme here is that I'm always controlling that bottom leg, okay? So now there's really only one way he can move. He could try to push or whatever. I'm just gonna get heavy. I can work underhooks. It doesn't really matter. Again, pass any way you like from this position, right? But I'm just gonna start to put my weight down. If he moves and tries to turtle, he doesn't want me to score or something, cool. Maybe I'll start to chase the back, okay? So we're here. All right, so once we land, knee's gonna go in. I'll do it again in a sec, right? You guys are just gonna windshield wiper. Build that sandwich. If you wanna just kind of solidify the sandwich with like a nice like panini press there, just push your arm down on top. Okay, stay heavy here. Sometimes I drop my head in there, or I'll work an underhook or something like that, okay? But we're just gonna play here, all right? If he doesn't move, that's cool, that's fine. I just nice and slow start walking around for my pass. Or if he starts to go on the shoulder, you guys can kind of give your partner both reactions. Maybe you'd like to chase the back, okay? So one more time, let's start. Okay? So again, just the key here is just to anticipate, right? There's probably a million other passes you could do from here. We're just anticipating with our hands out in front. Stance is nice and low. As he goes to push, I'll drag it, post that knee on the mat. Okay, again, look at the toes, active toes as I windshield wiper. And we build the sandwich here, and we stay nice and heavy, and we just lock the hips down, okay? If he starts to struggle and push and move, that might be the moment that I chase the back, or if I prefer, or I'm heavier, maybe I'll flatten my partner out. And I'll just make that top position that I prefer, okay? Does that make sense to you guys? We good? Yeah. All right, let's do it. Let's work a few minutes on that, please.
Do this. Secure with your hips. Yeah. You can with the elbow. If you have the knee, you can just hold on to that and use that. That's a good way to.
I wish that someone had told me this like 15 years ago, 20 years ago, whatever, okay? 25 years ago. Guard passing in general becomes a lot easier, right? And I would say any kind of essential control of a top position, right, becomes a lot easier when we're a lot closer to the thing that we want to control, okay? Simply put. So what that means is as you're dragging the leg, again, I see a lot of you guys being up really high, which doesn't, I'm not saying you won't get to that position, but it's going to be a lot harder, okay? When I'm doing it, I'm essentially like, as he goes to push and I go to drag, I'm already kind of in the position where all I have to do is literally put my knee in there, okay? If I'm really high up here when I go to drag, this is like a lot of distance to cover to get in here. And this guy's a black belt. He's not going to let me do that, right? Like, mess with me a little bit. So it's like, I'm trying to get in here. Don't let me do it. Move your head. Exactly. He's already moving again. You guys see he rotated already to that other side, okay? So I want the best chance for success, and that's going to come with, that's going to come with being as low to the target, right? As close to the target as possible. So when you guys move here, right? Think about you guys see I'm like kind of even already on my hand here. I'm just dropping down right into that space, okay? I do this first, and then I windshield wiper. I don't try to do that all in one move. I just kind of get my knee in position here. I'm wedged on the hip, and now I just move it over, okay? The other thing I'm doing, which is more of maybe a feel than a C, is I'm squeezing his leg and his hip with my adductors. I'm actually pinching here as I get into that position, right? Which will make it, right, a lot harder once I windshield wiper. Let me bar the leg again, right? Okay, for him to move. Go ahead, play. It's very hard because I'm pinching everything together. I'm squeezing those adductors, and I'm introducing that pressure of the top of the sandwich here at the same time, okay? So if you're loose here, and the guy's good, or he's stronger than you, or she's stronger than you, you're going to have trouble. They're going to push you away. They're going to make space, okay? Does that make sense to you guys? Okay, cool. Just give me like one more minute. Let's just work that for another minute, just a couple more times, okay? Let me show you guys at least one more thing, if I have time, okay? Let's go.
All right. Let's go.
Do it.
Do it again.
I think it's better than it was.
Okay.
I think it's tighter because now it's harder for me to kick you off, I think. Because that's probably what somebody's going to do, especially if they're bigger, is try and kick you off.
So what do we have so far? Step on the person, get one leg on the mat, make it up from there, okay? Add whatever, so we're just making a soup. Add like, this is the broth, right? Add whatever like ingredients you want in there, okay? Whatever pass you prefer. I was walking around, so people are doing different passes, different things, cool. I'm not upset about that, that's great. Okay, add your like, whatever feels good for your body type, whatever your game is like, you just kind of plug it in there. Again, it's just a means to an end to get you into that first piece where we can pin one side, right? Which again, for me, guard passing is hard when I have like a guy who's good. Be good at jiu-jitsu for a minute. And it's like, man, this is like, it's so much work. I'm 47 and I'm like old. I've been doing this for a long time. It's like, this guy's all like youthful, moving a lot. And I'm just like, you know what? Like, okay, much easier. Stay there, right? And then I can start to sort of insert my dominance, right? Okay, so we're pinning, okay? But the last thing I want to talk about here, and I only have a few minutes, right? And again, I'm here all week, so if you like any of this stuff, or if you want to work from more of a seated position, which was the class I taught here a few years back, and another thing that I like a lot, I made a DVD or whatever instructional on, okay? I'm happy to work some of this too. But the last thing I just want to talk about here real quick for a couple minutes is the idea is what happens when the person doesn't follow you when you circle here, or they're playing like more of a grilled chicken, like pre-position where their knees are kind of closer to their chest. They have a really good guard. They understand like how to protect that space, okay? So I'm going to show you guys a little trick. This is kind of the thing I do with guys that are people that have kind of a little bit more of a flexible guard, or maybe they just have better positioning with their knees. They're not as like far away here, so it's not as easy to just put them on one side. Okay, they're playing like play close, yeah, like that. And I'm like, man, this guy's a pain in the butt. All right. What I like to do here, essentially, when someone's knees are close to their chest, or maybe I try to circle and the person's just not really moving with me as much as I want them to, so I can pin and I can step. Okay, is all we're gonna do is we're gonna take like a C grip here, pick a leg. Okay, it doesn't really matter which side you go to. Right? All I'm going to do essentially is I'm going to pick a side. I'm in front. I'm nice and low, right? And all I'm going to do is I'm going to start to reach from the outside with that C grip, and I'm going to push my partner's ankle in toward their belly a little bit like this, okay? So I'm going to start to push in, and usually what I do here when I start to push in here, right, is I cause a little bit of tension here, and my partner feels that tension, and they start to move, and they start to straighten their leg away. So essentially, as you push, someone usually pushes back, okay? I'm American. We like to like honk at each other in traffic and be like real aggressive, right? Like road rage. So it's like or like, you know, someone pushes you, you push them back. Okay. So typically when I'm here, if I push in, he'll push back. Okay. So I just kind of test that a little bit. I'll play here like this and I'll start pushing the legs. And when one comes out like that, do it slow again. So when one comes out like that, all I do is pin. Okay. You guys understand? Okay. Now you're like, but Brad, isn't that the wrong leg that you pin? It's not the outside. It is. Okay. You're all thinking that, right? Okay, so it's the outside leg, but it doesn't really matter, right? Again, the idea is the same. It doesn't really matter. So we're here, be good at guard, okay? So I'm here, I'm like, I push, he pushes back, I pin, okay? So now that leads me to a whole other system of passes where I could literally just step through and pass, right? Or if you're like, I don't understand all that, I just want to do what you showed me. Just switch and go, okay? You guys understand? The idea is the same. This hip is now pinned to the floor, and now I can start to work, whether it's to switch feet or simply just to get low and step through or do whatever I want to do. Okay, so one more time, let's turn. Okay, so again, he's playing a little tighter guard game, or maybe he's simply just not following me, right? Like I'm like, that's annoying. He's just kind of staying put, all right? So what do? I come from the outside. You guys see it's like I kind of have my C grip here, and I'm pushing straight. I'm going to bring the ankle in toward like his junk there. He straightens it out. And I pin, okay? And now we're back where we started. Again, where are the hands? They're in front, right? I know that leg is coming. I know it. Like I can set my watch by it. It's almost every time that I do that, the person's going to push me away, okay? So I can't say that enough times. If my hands are here to intercept it or push it out of the way or do whatever I want to do, right? It's a lot easier. Okay? Does that make sense? You guys all right? If we try that for a couple minutes? All right, let's do it. Okay, so just last thing. Like, we're not even going to do this, but because someone asked, right? So the other thing is, and again, I want to do this slow just to be mindful of my partner's knee, especially if I'm considerably bigger than them. But a lot of times when I push, if the person doesn't open up, the other thing is, look at this weak angle. You can just kind of put your body like on top of that leg, literally just kind of smush toward it. So if you push in and the person doesn't push back, you can just start like kind of like guiding their leg that direction. And essentially you're going to end up with the same concept, right? Just not with the foot stepping on the person, but with the hip pinned to the floor. Okay, so that's really the takeaway for today. Okay, we're just doing it by stepping on it, but really the idea is just get one side out of the mix, and your life is going to be a lot easier when it comes to passing. Okay, does that make sense, guys? Everyone cool? All right, again, just a few things. This is really basic stuff. For the more advanced guys, you're probably like, yeah, whatever. Okay, this is stuff I've been doing for, I don't know, 6-7 years now. I've been doing these weird things where I step on people. I know it's kind of cool now, which is awesome. I love watching like high-level competition now, and like the Rotolos and all these guys are using this stuff. It's great. I'm not saying like I taught us them. No, I didn't. They're way better than I am. But like the idea is like it's cool to see it now, like sort of at higher levels, right? Because I've been kind of like messing around with this for a while. Okay, so thank you guys very much. Again, Laura's up next. I don't even think I have time for a picture, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. I'll just say that you guys were all here if anyone asks. Okay, and thank you guys very much. It was great to get to kick the camp off.